At the heart of these Royal Commission findings are three simple questions. What did Cardinal George Pell know about the sexual abuse of children by paedophile Catholic clergy in the Melbourne and Ballarat archdioceses? When did he know it, and what did he do to stop it? Today, the answers to those questions were laid bare.
It was probably hard to think that, to see it actually in front of me, the words that said that he knew, but to see it in hard evidence that now it was out for the world to see, thankfully that everybody now knows that he did know, that George Pell did know.
Blake Curran's father, Peter, was abused for years while growing up in Ballarat.
Dad went to St Alepius as a child. He was abused by 3 different priests, Gerard Ridsdale being the worst, Robert Best and Dowling. He then went on to St Patrick's at high school and was continued to be abused there as well. He dropped out of school, became an alcoholic at the age of 16.
Peter Curran was instrumental in eventually bringing paedophile priests Edward Dolan, Robert Best and Gerald Ridsdale to justice. He died in 2004.
He committed suicide when I was 21. I'll probably tear up now. He'd obviously had enough. He was an alcoholic and, yeah.
One of Peter Curran's abusers was the notorious Gerald Ridsdale, who remains in prison after being convicted of more than 100 offences involving children as young as 4. George Pell has long claimed he wasn't aware of Ridsdale's behaviour.
In 1993, you accompanied to court a priest who was a confessed paedophile and was then convicted.
Now, at that stage, none of us, or at least I, had no idea of the enormity of and the number of Ridsdale's crimes.
You knew there were some, though?
Well, obviously he'd been charged.
So why did you accompany him to the court?
As a priestly act of solidarity. In retrospect, I didn't realise then what a wrong impression it would give to the victim.
The Royal Commission found that George Pell was present at a meeting in 1982 that discussed moving Ridsdale from one Victorian parish. The findings released today state that Cardinal Pell's evidence that paedophilia was not mentioned and that the true reason was not given is not accepted.
My big thing is that it's not just the victims at this point in time, it's a multi-generational impact of this. Pell could have easily saved so many families from heartache, whether it have been of those that time or now.
The Royal Commission did reject one serious claim made against Cardinal George Pell, that he had allegedly tried to bribe an abuse victim to stop him from coming forward. Adverse findings were made about George Pell's failure to take action against paedophile priest Peter Searson in 1989. The Royal Commission found that Bishop Pell had the capacity and opportunity to urge the Archbishop to take action against Father Searson in order to protect the children of the parish and the Catholic community of his region. Father Searson died in 2009 without ever facing charges.
Well, it'll mean a lot to 3 of my clients in case study 35. Most importantly, BVC, who was a witness who was abused in 1992, and the Royal Commission have found that if action had been taken prior to 1992, BVC may not have been abused.
The victims don't bear the blame for this failure to report. The responsibility lay with the archbishops and the bishops, didn't it, Cardinal?
Lawyer David O'Brien represented several abuse victims and whistleblowers at the Royal Commission. He questioned George Pell extensively about his knowledge of abuse.
It does put you on a train of inquiry, doesn't it, Cardinal?
Cardinal Pell was one of a number of people who could have taken actions, and it's not necessarily to excuse or downplay the findings that are made against Cardinal Pell or in relation to Cardinal Pell's evidence, which speak for themselves, but really to show that the actions of those in power that have denied that they could have done more really are non-plausible. 7:30
requested an interview with Cardinal George Pell but was told he was unavailable. In a statement, he said he was surprised by some of the views of the Royal Commission about his actions. These views are not supported by evidence. 7:30 also requested interviews with the Archbishop of Melbourne, Peter Comensoli, the Archbishop of Sydney, Anthony Fisher, and the Archbishop of Brisbane, Mark Coleridge, who is also the president of the Australian Catholic Bishops' Conference. All declined to comment. We also requested interviews with prominent Catholic commentators Greg Craven and Father Frank Brennan from the Australian Catholic University, but they also declined.
I called on Cardinal Pell to take the leadership and to properly investigate all the extent of pedophilia that had occurred and the extent of knowledge of that still occurs. And it's for the Church to take this leadership. And Archbishop Comensoli and indeed the Pope in Rome and others can take that leadership. It's not behind them, it's very much in front of them.
Victims and their families are just glad the truth is being revealed piece by piece.
Whether you were for Pell or against Pell, it's just clear information and evidence now. And the fact that kids are now able to talk about it openly as well, it will hopefully help other children down the track as well, which is what what Dad was trying to do initially, protect the kids of the future.
And if that story's raised any issues for you, you can call Lifeline on 1311 14 or Beyond Blue on 1300 22 46 36.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 7:30's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.